Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fleabag Full of Grace, where one host will be doing a Fleabag rewatch while the other will be seeing it for the first time. I'm Mariquita from Postfilm Clarity, and this is my third Fleabag rewatch.
And my name is Anna of Stone's Top Tens, and I've never seen Fleabag. We are two friends who each have our own movie podcasts and decided to do a limited television series together, landing on Fleabag. In each episode, we will break down an episode of Fleabag, discussing the themes, scenes, and what stands out to us.
We will cover one Fleabag episode per pod, which means 12 total pods released weekly on Thursdays. You can follow us on socials at postfilmclaritypod and at Stone's Top Tens, all one word for both. You can email us at either of those addresses at gmail.com.
If you're enjoying our content, feel free to check out our respective podcasts of Post Film Clarity and Stone's Top Tens wherever you listen to your pods. Let's get started.
After having tea and G&T with the hot priest, Fleabag starts asking the important questions like, what's the meaning of life? What's the point of therapy? And can Catholic priests have sex? Meanwhile, Martin is bringing assault charges against Fleabag, so her and Claire secretly team up to fight a legal battle. What did you think of this episode, Anna?
Oh my God. I loved this episode. I paused it multiple times and laughed out loud.
She's in, baby!
Oh my gosh. There were so many good fourth wall breaks. There were so many good line readings. I'm in. I'm totally in.
Yes!
I really loved when Claire shows up to the cafe and it's thriving. It's doing so well, which is wonderful to see. And Claire's
She's so confused.
she's like, "Are you having an event? Why are there people out here?" And then my favorite was she's like, "Why are they talking to each other?" And so Fleabag has to explain about Chatty Wednesdays, and then that gentleman comes up to Claire and starts talking to her, and she's just like, "No."
She yells at the poor, what's his name? I think he's in a later category. But we'll talk more about that guy later.
It made me think, okay, listen, this is gonna be really embarrassing, and maybe I won't keep this, but
Ooh,
I went
love
out
this.
to dinner this week, and the restaurant I went to had the QR code. It was not a fancy restaurant, it was a bar.
Mhm.
But it had the QR code menus. And so I was there with two of my friends, and the waiter was like, "Oh, do you need a menu?" And I didn't know that that's where they were. And I was like, "Yeah." And he walks away, and my friend Kim is like, "Why? It's the QR code." And I was like, "Oh, I've never done this before. Shoot." So I'm doing that. And then by the end of the meal, the gentleman brings our receipts, or the young man, as my friend called him, because we're clearly getting old. And
That young man.
so we're she pays with her, with the QR code on the receipt, and I'm like, and the guy's like, "I can I was like, "I didn't know you could do that." And the waiter's like, "Oh, here, I can bring you we can do this traditionally." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna figure this out." And my friends were like, "Anna," and I was like, "I'm sorry, that was an overreaction, but I'm gonna figure this out because I already
Leave
feel
me
very ill
alone."
today."
Oh,
And I was like,
no.
"Don't worry, 30% tip. My bad."
Oh my God. Well, at least you tipped well for being a pain in the ass.
Yes. So I felt like Claire, and I was like, "Oh God, oh
Oh,
no."
honey. Yeah, I had a feeling you were gonna really like this one.
Oh yeah.
Also just because we get so much Priest in this episode.
Yes.
And you really get to see more of his personality and him and Fleabag's, oh my God, I just got out of breath thinking about it. Their chemistry.
Yes.
Whew. Oh God. They make me dizzy.
The
Whew.
a hand flex would be fitting in this
No, literally,
situation.
because she talks about the arm grazes and
Yes.
the arm touch, the knuckle graze, and then when he gives that super flustered sermon right up top,
Oh
and
my
he
gosh. Yes.
oh my God, Anna, why don't I have that? What God do I need to sacrifice to get that?
Apparently
I
the
want it.
Catholic God.
God, that's my 8th choice of God.
I loved the interactions with the priest, especially when they're in his office. I don't know what that is, what room that is,
Yeah, his
but
little hidey hole.
It's so funny when she's like, "Well, I'm an atheist," and, like, the picture falls off the wall, and he's just like, "Oh god, I love when he does that." And I'm like,
Mhm. Perfect comedic timing, yeah. There I love the tea scene, that first tea scene, yeah, back there.
well, and, he spills it, and then he's, like, trying to mop it up, and she's like, "Is that holy?" And he goes, "Little less holy now." I'm like,
It's so
oh, he's
good.
so funny.
You really get to see that it's not one-sided, that he likes Fleabag and is as attracted to her as she is to him. Um,
Well, especially when he meets Harry and finds out that they were dating, and he's like, "Oh, good for you." And I'm like, "Meow."
mm, a little jealous, little curious about old Harry. How funny was that? Did you
Oh my
did you
god.
scream when Harry returned again?
And he's got a baby, and he's, like, acting like he physically gave birth, and I'm just
It was
like,
a really hard
"Harry."
birth for him.
It was just
He
his
has
body feels
postnatal
different.
depression. Ah, the postnatal depression, and he's like, "Not Elaine, me." Oh my god, that had
Yeah,
me
it
weak. Harry is
was so
so
funny.
funny. He's such a how do I describe him? He's like a lovable loser and just I don't know, there's something about Harry, I always have a soft spot for him, but the depression was an incredible bit.
I love that she seems so much better upon seeing him this time. We think of the last time they saw each other and, like,
Oh
what
my
a
god.
shit mess that was,
Yeah,
and,
wasn't that
like,
right after Arsehole Guy dumped her?
yeah, and it was, like, in
Mm,
the in the gallery when everything was just, exploding,
mhm.
um, but it's good to see her, like, composed and seem to have, like, a healthy reaction where she's, like, not trying to get him back and
Nope.
just like, "Oh, you always wanted a baby." And he's like, "You always wanted a fringe."
Good for you. Yeah, they're in such a good place, upon this interaction. It's really nice to see. It's always good to see my old friend Harry. What else did you enjoy about this episode? Because I think we have some overlap here I really wanna get into. Um,
Okay, so something I did not enjoy was Martin being
Oof,
there.
this
His
motherfucker.
how he appears and he's, like, so close behind her and, like, whispering in her ear, being such a creep.
Yeah.
And, he's, like, trying to get her to apologize because then it's an admission of guilt.
Oh,
At
yeah.
least that's, like, what his lawyer probably told him.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to
And
entrap my girl.
yeah, and so, like, he just keeps trying and keeps trying. And then his son, who is now known as Creepy Jake, fantastic. Um, Listen, Creepy Jake definitely is a little creepy, but, like, when he hugged Fleabag, it was not, like, it wasn't creepy. It didn't feel creepy. It was just like the kid needed a hug, and he's not gonna
Yeah.
hug his dad. And then
Yeah.
Martin makes it weird, and he's like, "Oh, you can't do that anymore." And I hate that. I hate that shit.
You can't touch a woman nowadays. I'm like, with consent, you can.
And he's like, "Oh, especially not this one." And, like, you can tell Fleabag was, like, she wasn't maybe happy about it, but she was, like, pleasantly surprised that he wanted to have this, like, familial interaction with her.
Yeah.
And then, he comes back and, like, the boy does not understand personal space, okay? But he gets so close to her, and then he tells her to tell Claire to leave Martin, and he says it a couple times, and, like,
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is out of, like, a genuine concern and not because he wants, like, I hope this isn't, like, an Oedipus thing where, like, he wants to be with Claire. Oh, no, your face makes me think it's Oedipus.
I didn't say anything.
No,
I'm
your
just
face does, though.
I'm just laughing.
Damn it, it's gonna be Oedipal.
I'm just laughing. You don't know. You don't know.
Sure.
But I do like that we get a little insight, I guess, into Claire's home life, kind of for the first time,
Yeah,
through her stepkids begging for Fleabag to convince Claire to leave his father.
right.
He's like, "Fuck this guy. Get your sister out of here." And I'm like, "Wow, damn. Even your son doesn't fuck with you. That's how much of a
Yeah.
scumbag you are." I hate Martin. I
He
continue to hate Martin.
sucks. He
hmm
sucks.
And I also continue to hate Godmother.
Yeah. Yeah, you take that away, because that was not my favorite, but whoo, that was something.
I can't even remember what happened in this episode that pissed me off so much about it. The only thing I wrote down was like, I hate God, or Godmother is still being awful. And I don't even remember why. She pisses me
She
off so
makes
much at this point.
Claire posed back, or no, she makes Fleabag pose backwards for the painting.
Oh, the painting. That's right. She has his phone. She's basically like holding him hostage. She wants Fleabag to not look at her, but she wants to paint her. Only wants Claire's face, and then made some offhanded comment about one of their looks that really, ooh, it pissed me off. And I was like, yeah, get off my screen. I can't stand you.
She tells Fleabag she has such a nice, thick neck.
Thick neck. Get out of my sight, you raggedy bitch.
I don't know in what world that is deemed a compliment, but
Oh,
like,
he has such a thick
yikes.
neck. Oh, fuck off. Yeah, she continues to also piss me off. She's not the
She's
worst, but
terrible.
she's not great. She's not great. What else
I
do you
want to
got?
talk about like my standout of this episode. For those of you who are maybe not big listeners to Stone Stop Tens or don't know me, I love Star Wars. Okay, Andor was one of my
Mm.
favorite shows to come out, and when Fiona Shaw, aka Marva from Andor, shows up, I died. I was so excited,
I was hanging
and
on to
she's
that one.
oh, you were. You held that close. Um, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought the therapy session was really interesting.
I love that scene.
You
That was
know,
my favorite part of this episode.
yes, she digs into it so quickly. And I'm going to talk about some of the specifics later because I
Mhm.
have like a line from there that I really liked. But
Mm.
I wanted to ask your opinion on this. So the therapist seems quite set on this idea that people make their decisions and they're kind of just seeking validation for those decisions. Listen, I know that it like literally days ago, I asked for your opinion about a decision that I had already made. And I just wanted you to validate that I was still a good person. So I'm understanding how I fall into this
Oh
right
my god,
now.
and I was in the therapist role, and I was like, I don't know. Do you think so?
You were.
How do you feel
And it was
about it?
so rude. I'm like, can you just tell me I'm a good person, Marquita?
No.
Uh,
How do you feel? Oh
I
my
don't
god.
feel great, but I never feel
Poor-
great. Can you just tell me I'm
Right.
fine?
Now you know what my real friends go through. Now you're my real friend. If you text me some bullshit, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. Do you think it's weird? You tell me. I'm the worst
I-
person to ask for a pep talk. I'm probably not gonna give you
I
one.
didn't like it.
Love you.
Sure.
I'm like, well, how do you feel about it, and why are you asking me? What's the question that this is bringing up for you? And then I kind of just psychoanalyze you until you do what you were gonna do anyway, or justify why you're gonna do what you're gonna do anyway. So I'm on the therapist side here, I think.
I was gonna say, so do you feel this way about everyone or just me at this
No,
point?
everyone.
Okay.
This isn't like specifically you thing. I just think that most people, yeah, Kate and I talk about this a lot. And I'm like, are you asking because you want advice? Are you asking because you already know what you're doing? And usually it's the latter. And I'm like, okay, so then I'll just listen to you. But I'm more so, I think as someone who tends to really intellectualize my feelings. I don't know if you've noticed.
No.
Instead of just feeling things, I'm
Couldn't
like,
tell.
well, why would I do that when I can just like think about it, put it in a box, and go on about my day?
That's okay. I'm over here feeling literally every feeling that has ever existed.
And I'm sitting here like, that's nice. What do you think about that? Just blank expression. I'm on the therapist side. I totally agreed with her, and I think that Fleabag's defensiveness to that kind of confirms She's like, "You already know what you're gonna do." And Fleabag's like, "No, I don't. No, I don't." I'm like, "Yeah, you do, girl." What do you think?
Not a mirror. Not a mirror. Um,
Oh, so somebody was feeling a little stung by that.
um,
Mm.
I think there's a degree to that, but I do think like there are times when I do, like you said, you ask Kate, like, do you want an opinion? Do you want advice? Or do you just want validation? And like,
Mhm.
I would say that there are instances for each one. Um, but cause like I hate when people come to you and they're like, especially if you're in like a subordinate position where it's like
Ooh,
they're asking your opinion on something, but they've already
but
made
they're
the
not
decision.
really.
I hate that. I
They're not
hate
really
that.
asking, and then if you do give them feedback of any kind, then they get mad at you. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Correct.
Ooh, yeah, that's a
But
trap.
I feel like, and I think it depends on like how close you are with the person because like you know, I'm going back to you and Kate, like you guys are best friends. So like
Mm,
I would say like when you can have that genuine conversation of like, okay, what are we talking about? Which do you want?
right,
Like, I think that's valid and
right.
more valid, I would say.
And
But
and why is usually my question as well. Just like, why are you asking? What's going on? Yeah, she hates
why?
it
Because
too.
I'm constantly guilty. That's it. I'm
She
reaching out to Kate this week and I'm going to be like, listen to what this bitch did. Um,
So she has plenty of war stories. Yeah.
ugh. But I mean, I know like I do both, I guess. I will reach out for advice and I will reach
Mhm.
out for validation as
Yeah.
evidenced by our conversation this weekend that you shut down.
I answered the question. You asked me a question, I answered it. No
No,
more,
the
no
question was,
less.
does this make me a bad person? And you did not answer that part. You answered, you said, I can't answer that. And I was like, well, fuck. That's what I'm asking.
But why?
I should
Do
have
you...
been like, are we still friends if I
Yes,
don't cancel Disney Plus?
of course. That's a different question. See, now you know why my friends, I drive them crazy. Um,
Oh,
but it's out of love. I think that I just generally come from a place of I'm not here to make decisions for you or tell you what to do or
oh,
not do.
I always want someone to make decisions for me.
Oh
I
man.
hate making decisions.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like, I don't know. What do you think?
No, I'm never coming to you for something like that ever again. You are off the list.
Sorry.
Off that list.
Oh God, love it. Yeah, I think maybe that's why the therapy scene was my favorite section of this episode. It's just she reminded me a lot of me. I was a lot less Fleabag in that scene and a lot more of the therapist. I also just love how cheeky Fleabag was trying to be with her,
Oh,
and she's like, "Why are you doing this?"
I love that she's like, no jokes.
No
No
jokes.
jokes, please.
Please stop. Again, sometimes, yeah, I'm like, be serious. What are we
Yeah.
doing? Yeah, excellent stuff there from Fiona Shaw. I'm always so happy to see her. It reminded me a lot of her character from Killing Eve, actually, which Phoebe Waller-Bridge wrote. So they already had that connection, which is probably how she ended up on Fleabag. That'd be my guess.
So, like, obviously, my first time seeing Fiona Shaw was in Harry Potter, and
Same.
she's like a terrible character. I don't like that, Aunt Petunia sucks.
Mhm.
Um, And then when I saw her in Andor, my entire like now I don't even think Aunt Petunia when I see Fiona Shaw. I think
Mm.
Marva. And then
Oh.
when I watched season 4 of True Detective, which is so good. Like I like season 1 and season
Mhm.
4 very much. And she
Yes.
is so good in season 4. And like I love
She's one
season
of
4
my
of True Detective. It's so good.
Oh, that's an unpopular
And
opinion.
oh, seriously?
Oh, yeah, people hated that season.
Oh, I
Hated it.
love 1 and 4. I thought
I
1 and
love
4 were very good.
I love 1, I really like 3, and I like 4. I hate 2.
2 was fine. 3 was good. I thought 4 was really good. Wow, I didn't know I was in the
Ah.
minority of this opinion. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really creepy. I thought it was really cool. I I like the setting. I like the indigenous aspect of it. Like,
Mm. I did
I
like
like
that
the Billie
aspect of it.
Eilish theme song. Like,
Ooh, yeah, great theme song. Yeah, that was a never skip for me. I love that song.
oh yeah,
But yeah, she was great on True Detective season 4. She was amazing on Andor. I think that was the same year even, so she was, like,
it's
back
close.
back to back, just killing it. But she's been a TV staple and a theater staple for decades upon decades, which leads us perfectly into our behind the scenes this week, which is going to be about Miss Fiona Shaw. She is Irish, which I didn't know,
I didn't know that either.
and her surname is actually Wilson. She had to adopt a stage name because there was already a Fiona Wilson in the like Actors Guild at the time, so her real name is not even Shaw. She is
Hmm.
best known, of course, as Petunia Dursley in the Harry Potter series. She was in Daniel Day-Lewis's My Left Foot, Persuasion, Jane Eyre, Tree of Life. I don't remember her in Enola Holmes, but who is she in Enola Holmes?
Which version of Jane Eyre? The Fassbender version?
The 1996 one,
No,
which is
that's not the Fassbender version.
no. She does a lot of HBO as well. She's in True Blood.
Mm.
Yeah, love her on that. And Killing Eve, she is a lead role on that show from 2018 to 2022. And let me see if she's had oh yeah, she's been doing theater since 1983.
Whew.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Get it, girl.
I know, right? So she's been doing looks like she's been doing theater and television and film simultaneously since 83, 84. So this lady
Wow.
can act. Yeah, she can act her
Yeah.
fucking ass off. She's so experienced. It's literally her whole Wikipedia and IMDb is pages and pages and pages long.
Mm.
Um but yeah, I just love her. I love her every time I see her and she makes me happy and I'm excited she's here. So
Me too. I
that's
was jacked, and she's got an adorable haircut. She looks
yeah.
great. It's like this
Yeah.
red, like short dude. It looks great.
I really she really I like her in a pixie. I don't know. She's just got like a good face for it. Yeah.
Okay, so heading to Catholicism corner here this
Yay!
episode. You had a question in here about why don't you ask this question? Like, what is your question here about Catholicism right now?
So my Catholicism questions for this episode are firstly, I wouldn't recommend googling Catholic priest sex, but
Probably not.
secondly,
Probably not.
secondly, are you allowed to spend time at a church as a quote unquote tourist like Fleabag does? I've just never really experienced that, I guess. Like just for a little context and background on my Catholic roots, I went to Catholic school in elementary for 2 years and then went back to public school. And then I went to Catholic college twice, 2 different Catholic colleges. So I've accidentally ended up in Catholic school like 3 times. And when I went to Catholic elementary school, they didn't let me do mass or anything because I wasn't Catholic. I don't even know what we were. I
Mm-hmm.
guess we were like Baptist or Methodist. I don't remember. We went to a Dutch Reformed church, very old New York of us. Um,
Okay.
we went to the old Dutch church, but I didn't participate in any of the regular Catholic parts of Catholicism. I just went to school there and did Bible study within the classroom, and did morning prayer.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was never really invited to participate in these things, or I never really hung out with my priest like that. I wasn't sure if that's something you can just like walk into a Catholic church and like hang out with a priest. If can you do that? Because I would gladly.
Okay, so what I know from this, first of all, I want to say how much I love how you say elementary.
I knew
Elementary.
you.
It's so precious.
I knew you were gonna call me out on that. It's elementary, and that is
Elementary.
elementary, and that is an Albany, New
Elementary.
York dialect.
Um, but so what I know from this is that one of my friends growing up who went to Catholic school with me, her dad was Lutheran. And he would
Okay.
go to mass with them every Sunday, but you just can't participate in the sacraments. So, like,
Yes.
until you receive First Communion, you can't receive communion. And then,
Mhm.
like, now I no longer consider myself Catholic. So, like, when I am at a wedding or a funeral, which is like really the only time I'm ever in church anymore,
Mhm.
I will typically still walk up like I'm gonna get communion, but you can place your hands on your chest and then not get communion and instead get a blessing. So like
Oh, okay.
um because I no longer consider myself a Catholic, I will typically do that.
Mhm.
But I think it is like you are encouraged to still, if it's something you're interested in, if it's something you want to know more about, I do think that you could probably, I don't think you could just like walk into a church and talk to a priest because like they do have stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think you could certainly schedule a meeting with a priest and talk to him about your faith-based questions.
Mhm. I just wanna hang
I
out, like, I'm regretting. I guess I'm asking specifically because I know I was really young at the time, but I'm regretting not getting to, like, hang out with Father Murphy.
mm, yeah,
Rest in peace, to one of the legends of St. Patrick's School. He was the
yeah.
best, but I was just curious about, like, if you're allowed to socialize with priests, I guess. I've never seen that.
I think so. I think it just would I don't think it would be quite this easy. Um, I also think, like, the flirtation's probably not gonna happen. I think a lot of priests take their vows quite seriously. Um, but sorry if I'm, like, bursting a bubble here.
I
Uh
wish you wouldn't, but it's fine. I'm a bubble burster. I get it.
But I loved the start of this episode because when it starts with the sign of peace and like I was right back in the pew.
Oh,
Like
that's
I
funny.
felt like I had never left and like especially because like going to Catholic school, there were certain things that you did. You tried to sit near your crush so that you could shake their hand at the sign of peace.
Oh.
Um you if you got to sit next to your crush and it was a time where people like held hands during
Mhm.
the Our Father, that was a big
You're
deal.
like, "Oh my god,
Um oh my gosh. But
we're touching
had
hands!"
I had to laugh because when they're saying they're doing the sign of peace, and she's like, and also with you, and also with you, and peace be with you. And then he says, sit down, and she says, and also with you. Um, there was a time, so like when I was growing up, the priest used to say, peace be with you, and everybody would respond, and also with you. But when I
Mhm.
went to college, the Catholic Church changed this because they
Oh.
wanted like every church to be the same. So they changed it to and with your spirit. And I remember the first time I went back home and I went to
Oh.
mass with my parents, and I was like so sure. And the priest says, and peace be with you. And I'm like, and also with you. And everyone else is like, and with your spirit. And I was like, what?
Oh,
We changed
no.
it.
That's
And
so
everyone knew that I was
embarrassing.
no longer going to church. And it was
They're like, "Anna, we
very
don't even do that
embarrassing.
anymore."
That's not it. Um,
Wow, they set you up. Oh my god.
yeah, it was
That
brutal. And
that must
also
have been
like,
way after I stopped going. Yeah.
oh
What do you
yeah,
remember what is that like a universal Catholic saying now amongst
yes,
the
yes,
diocese?
I believe so. um, I want to say it was like around 2010, 2011, somewhere in
Okay,
there. It's when I was in
gotcha.
college.
I left Catholic
Um,
college in 2009.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then like they all get onto the kneelers and my knees just hurt looking at it. Because again, like that was something my church didn't do the kneeling. for like the entire time I was growing up. And then all of a sudden I came back in college and there were kneelers that you were expected. And I was like, we don't do this. But apparently we do now.
Uh-huh.
But I do have to say, I was kind of disappointed because there are some real Catholic bangers and they were not in this episode. So like I'm going to give you guys a couple Catholic mass songs that I would like to personally hear in Fleabag.
Hell yeah.
Okay?
I'm ready.
During the Eucharist, taste and see.
Okay.
Table of plenty. Okay? Basics. They're your bread and butter, literally, or your bread and wine, if that's the way you want to go.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Now, if we're into funeral territory, which seems to be where I am typically in a church now, we have On Eagle's Wings, You're Gonna Cry. Be Not Afraid, and Ave Maria. I love the Ave Maria.
of
I will
course,
listen to
Ave
that all the
Maria.
time. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Amazing song.
And then the last one, Here I Am, Lord. I love church music. Usually Here I Am, Lord is like during the like the time between, like usually there's 2 songs for communion, and sometimes it'll be the second song, sometimes it'll be like earlier in the mass. It's usually not what they walk out to, because usually it's like more upbeat, unless you're like during Lent. That would be a good one. I mean, if you want a really depressing song, you go to Lent and you go to there's just like a refrain that you sing through the Stations of the Cross that is like, my God, why have you forsaken me? And you say it for like every station of the cross. That one's more sad, but I love these songs. I love church music, and it's like one thing I truly miss about going to mass. I love a good church song.
I agree. I love gospel music, like black church music slaps.
Yes.
Some of the most beautiful voices have come out of gospel churches. You know, you've got Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, of course, people like that. Usher. The list goes on and on. But I love church music. I'm just very secular, I fear. But church music does slap.
It does.
Some of it.
A lot of it, to be honest. I'm a big fan. So
but do you think the reason that their music doesn't slap as hard is because they're like very like stodgy, uptight British church?
Could be.
Because it's giving uptight, yeah. Like no
the
soul,
Pam
no
who keeps interrupting everything.
Fucking Pam. She's very
Pam.
annoying. Yeah.
She's not great.
He's like, all right, thank you, Pam. I got it.
Okay, so we do finally get some new character names in this episode. I mean, last episode we had, what was it, like needy waitress?
Yeah. Yes.
But what new names do we get this episode?
We get 2 bangers this week. So we meet the hot misogynist, as he's credited, in parentheses, lawyer.
I could not believe that was what he was credited as.
Hot misogynist. So fucking true. So funny. He's great. Look, keep an eye out for him. And then we've got poor Chatty Joe that Claire berates in the cafe on Chatty Wednesday. Yeah, Chatty Joe. Also keep an eye out for him.
Chatty Joe. Chatty Joe.
2 great new male characters we're being introduced to this episode.
Yeah, they were both good.
And what was your favorite fourth wall break? I know you said this was a good episode for them. I'm sure you had a hard time narrowing it down.
The whole dialogue when she's like trying to sell the godmother's painting and she's like, don't say it. Don't say it. I'm not going to say it. We're not going to say it. And then she says it. So funny. So funny. But I have to say, and mine is the same one as you have this one too. When she's like looking at all the paintings of Jesus and he's like not very clothed. And at one point when she's in the office, she looks and she's like, Jesus. And
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was my number one. I said when she gets horny for the Jesus paintings. Because goddamn Fleabag.
So funny. So
Oh
funny.
Lord. And then my other one was the therapy. I love that scene. In the therapy session when Fiona Shaw's character asks Fleabag straight up basically if she has friends. And she
Mhm.
lies kind of, and she says, "Yeah, they're always there." And she looks at us.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Well, even when
"We're your friends?"
she's like, "Yeah, I do," and she, like, looks quick, and
Yeah.
then she's like, "Oh, so you could talk to them?" She's like, "I talk to them all the time,"
Yeah, they're always
and, like,
there.
looks again.
I
Yeah.
was like, "Fleabag? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bestie?"
I liked
I
that too.
love that one. I love that one. It's one of my favorite fourth wall breaks in the series. Not you'll see there's a couple more coming up still that are monumental, but I just love that little moment of her acknowledging the audience directly. Just looked at us
Yeah.
and was like, "Love you guys." I'm like, "Oh my god, I love you too." Great, great for a fourth wall break.
What about your favorite dialogue?
So, I'll start with the counseling scene again. The when Fleabag I mean, I get it also, I would probably kick it to Fiona Shaw as well if I had
Oh,
the
yeah.
chance. She's a babe, I
Yeah.
love a babely older lady, and, Fleabag tries to make a joke, again, after she was asked very nicely not to make jokes, um,
Yes.
and I think the therapist asks about her sex life, and she said Fleabag says, "I'm very horny, and your little scarf isn't helping." And she's like no reaction. Just no
She just,
doesn't
like, instantly writes it down. Like
she's like, "Scribble, scribble, scribble, scribble." I'm like, "Oh my god, Fleabag, stop."
yeah.
No
I
no
laughed at that part
jokes.
out loud.
I did too. I cackle every time. That it just takes you off guard. It's so funny. And then, my other one is Claire, of course,
Mm.
when her and Fleabag are kind of semi-reconciling and she's helping her get with the hot misogynist lawyer to take on her case, her assault case against fucking Martin. And after Fleabag punches Martin in the face and all that, Claire finally confronts her and she says, "What you did at the restaurant was unforgivable." And Fleabag is like, "I know." And then Claire's like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
I'm like,
I loved that.
"Fuck, sisters."
I loved that.
I love that line delivery. It's so perfect. It's so good. It
Mhm.
it just says everything. You
Yeah.
know, and I think that's the first time you realize that Claire and Fleabag are gonna be alright, you know? They're
Yeah.
good. 'Cause she still loves her sister, and she knows she was fucking right.
Right.
Yeah. So those are my 2 favorites. What do you got?
I had a couple. Okay, there's a couple here. First
Mhm.
of all, when Fleabag is talking to the priest, and she's like, he offers her the G and T's, and she's like, "Oh, so you're a cool priest?" And he's like, "What? No." And he says, it went so fast. I had to rewind it to look at it again because he goes, "I'm a big reader and I have no friends," and I was like, "Merp,
Oh.
got it, buddy." Like, and then
Direct hit.
we have like the bookend of that when Fleabag when Fleabag is in therapy and the therapist is like, "You're just a girl with no friends and an empty heart." And her face,
Oof.
and she goes, "By your own admission."
Ate
And I
her
was just
up.
like, "Oh shit." Like
Ate her
that
up.
was real.
Yeah.
Um I I do have to say I love the priest's line delivery in like every single situation. So like I have
Andrew
two
Scott is
more of
perfect.
his. He's so funny. The first is when he meets Harry's baby and Harry's like, "Oh, this is Susie." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to talk to babies."
That's too real. That's so fucking real. He's like, "Oh,
So
actually,
funny.
I
And
don't know what to do about this." Like, ugh.
he does, he like puts his hands up and he's like,
Oh.
I don't know how to talk to babies." Like, no.
It's
And then,
so good. He's such a great comedic actor. Like, he can switch
yes.
very, very easily, just like Phoebe Waller-Bridge between the comedic and the drama. He's so This is one of my favorite Priest. This and I think the next one are just some of my favorite Andrew Scott moments in the series. So I'm excited to continue that. And what's your last one?
I told you I had a Pam quote, and this is it.
Oh,
When
yes.
they're at the fair and, she's like constantly telling him things he knows, and she's like, the band's about to come on and she's always interrupting. And then like from across the way, she's like, a cupcake fell. And he's like, okay, okay, Pam, I will be there to cupcake.
All
It's like, what
right,
does
Pam.
that even mean? I'm going to be there to
Pam
cupcake.
is deeply annoying, and I that really bums me out because she's like one of the only Black women in this entire series.
Yes.
And she's fucking annoying as hell. I'm like, come on now, Phoebe. God damn it. Why you gotta do us like that?
Yeah.
So what are your predictions for the upcoming episodes? We're getting towards the end here, girly.
I know. I
Are you getting
I have
pre-sad?
obviously.
I know you
I'm
don't
always
like the ends. I
pre-sad.
know. Touche. I know you don't like
Like,
the ends of things. That's why I ask. You will prolong watching finales of series. I know this about
that
you.
was one time.
One?
Okay, maybe more than one, but it was definitely one, and it was Andor. Like,
Mm-hmm. I was like, girl, did you finish it yet? You're like, no. I don't
I was
want
like,
it to
I
be over. Oh my god. So what do you think is coming up while you pre-grieve?
I don't know if I feel very strongly about any of these, to be honest. Usually I feel like I have a pretty solid direction of like either I know or like I just feel confident in my answer even if it's not actually end up being true.
Mm-hmm.
These are more concerns and a wish.
Okay.
I'm interested to see whether she continues therapy. Um whether she continues, I mean, I want her to because I want more
Mm-hmm.
Marva. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see if that continues. And it was such a great scene. Like I'd love to see that some more. Um I am a little worried because especially when I found out that the lawyer is called the misogynistic lawyer or the
Mm-hmm.
misogynist lawyer, she is kind of on like a no sex run right now. It's just she felt like it wasn't benefiting her at all. It only led to bad things. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's not really doing that right now. And he will only talk to her about her case if she goes out for a drink with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he is kind of pushy and he is kind of like on the borderline of what's appropriate and what's not. And I
Mm-hmm.
am honestly worried that she's going to be assaulted by him when she doesn't want to have sex with him. And I hope I'm wrong. Um, but I am worried about it.
We'll see.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Um, I want Claire to leave Martin. I just like, I feel like every week I'm like, and this is it. Claire's gonna leave Martin. And then like the next week I'm like, this
And
is
he's
it this time.
still
She's
here.
really gonna leave Martin. And, like, so, I really want Claire to leave Martin.
You and me both. I'm tired of him. I'm
He
so tired of this
sucks.
man. Yeah, he's the worst. I think those are pretty good predictions, I'd say, for some of them. Others, you're way off. But you'll see. I
Thanks,
love
that's
it.
helpful. Get out
Playing
of here.
coy in mind games is my favorite part.
Oh, God.
I'm like, I don't know. Who knows? What do you think?
Oh, get out of here. How dare you? Oh, I'm going to ban that from your vocabulary.
Who's to say?
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. I know, very Obi-Wan of me, honestly.
So rude.
I am.
So rude.
I know. So thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week. Feel free to follow us on socials at postfilmclaritypod and Stone's Top Tens. You can email us at either one of those addresses at gmail.com.
Next week, we will be looking at Season 2, Episode 3.